Hello, my name is Zach Ciota. I'm the host of the HVAC Shop Talk podcast. And in this video, I'm going to talk about something that I see happen to a lot of tradesmen and women in the HVAC field. And I think it is a huge mistake for their career. Save 8% off your order at TruTechTools.com by using the Shop Talk discount code. I first went into the trade in 1994. I was in high school. I started working during the summer, and I think that is the best thing you can do for a young man or woman who is in high school is to get them a job either part-time while they're in school or definitely over the summertime to start giving them some responsibility and something they can be proud of. It's not just about making them work. It's also about giving them a work ethic and giving them an opportunity to earn something where they can attach value to it. Whenever mom and dad are buying stuff for a kid, there's no value attached to that. Some kid asks for something and all of a sudden it appears at some point after that, there's no value there. He didn't have to actually do anything besides be a kid and maybe whine a little bit. But for teenagers, it's very important that they learned value, they learn their work ethic, and they get it established before they're an adult where the consequences of not having those things are more dire. I am proud to say that all three of my children have jobs. My daughter Mallory was the last one to get a job, but she works at a local restaurant. She runs food to the tables. My son Landon is the biggest surprise of all three. Landon he's like me. He likes to keep to himself most of the time, like off the air here. I'm not very social, and I think that's probably saying it lightly. But Landon, he's similar. He's more reserved. And oddly enough, he started working at KFC several months ago. He was the one who really first got a job, and he's been at it for the longest period of time. Today, he's working a double shift, which he requested. He always goes in whenever they ask him to, and I couldn't be prouder of all three of them, but Landon is a standout in this area because of the amount of work ethic he's accrued and the fact that even though his nature, I think, is diametrically opposed to being a cashier, that's what he likes to do. He likes being up at the front, taking people's orders. It blew my mind, but it's something that he developed because he got a job. And he now has this character trait that's growing inside of him from working. My son Andrew works as well. He works at a local country club. He is a guy who takes care of the golf carts and whatever else he does there. I'm not quite sure. I think he has to clean golf balls. I call him a ball washer. I always ask him if his balls are clean. And that's just my nature right there, I guess. So over my career, which spanned 1994, you can count the present, but as far as field work up until the last year or two, I noticed a trend in the trade where guys would get into the trade. They want to earn the maximum amount of money. And whenever they got an opportunity, they would switch companies for a minuscule raise. I've seen guys switch companies for 10 cents, 30 cents, 50 cents. Sometimes I'm sure that's warranted. Maybe that's a better company and it's a good decision. But I saw them switching way too often. And it's actually the same way with guys at the supply house. They would switch from supply house to supply house. Every time they go to a new supply house or every time a tech would go to a new company, they would talk how much better this new company was, how much better the new supply house was. Then time would run its course and all the flaws would surface from that company or that supply house because it's a lot like dating. You're first dating somebody and everybody's holding back, their true nature. No one's farting at the table or anything like that or burping while they're eating. But after about 6 months or so, that facade comes down a little bit, and it's the same way with the job. The grass is always greener on the other side. And what I wanted to impart with this video from watching this happen, I didn't have the opportunity to kind of develop this way, which I might have, I don't know, because I came up in a family company, and a family company is like the mafia. If you want to leave, you got to die, basically, or have some kind of extraordinary event happen, which is the case with me. That's how I started my company, an extraordinary event. No one died, thank goodness. But because of that, I'm very used to having a commitment and keeping it for a very long period of time. That's what developed because of that family company. And what I find is it's almost like having a heat stroke. The first time you have a heat stroke, it's severe. But then after that, your tolerance gets lower and lower for the heat. So every time these people are switching companies back and forth, all of a sudden their tolerance is lower and lower, and I see the switching become more rapid. Staying the course is a valuable character trait. That doesn't mean you stay at a company that's horrible for 10 years just to make sure, but you give a company a proper amount of time. How long is that? Everyone could tell you something different. I think as long as it's not just a fantastically horrible company, 6 months to a year, I think would be a minimum to give them, unless there was just some kind of glaring red flag that you didn't see that pops up to the surface immediately. Staying the course is something that I see diminishing a lot of times. I think the principles in general in our society are shifting, and I'd hate to see patience and I'm not the founder of patience, that's for sure. But I do know a little bit about this from seeing it for years and years and years. Having a little bit of patience, letting things play out a little bit, it makes a world of difference. Opportunities open up. I know one thing. When I look forward in my life, if I go back in time and think about where I am now, there's no way I could have predicted all the things that happened, good or bad. It's the same way with your job. You can't predict all the good things that might happen around the corner that you don't see yet. You might have to let it play out for a little bit. That's my word of advice for you guys. And I know that a lot of you will say things like, my company doesn't do things the right way. Then maybe you being there, as long as they're not abusive about it, is a great way for your company, your coworkers, to see you doing something the right way because you studied it here on YouTube, or maybe you spend extra time after work reading books. Maybe their exposure to that proper way will only come from you. And you staying there can help spread that around that company and make that company better in general. So you end up affecting multiple people. You have to judge these situations for yourself. It's just food for thought coming from me. I've been around for a while. I've seen a lot of stuff, and that's just what I've seen over the years. That's my impression. Let me know what your impression is in the comments. I want to know your comments. I want to know, hey, I want a like from you if you enjoyed this video. Go ahead and take time. It only takes a second or two to put a like on it, and it makes a world of difference with how many times YouTube goes, hey, you want to watch this with my video? And I want YouTube to do that. Makes me successful. So taking that second or two benefits me quite a bit. Put that comment in there, double benefit. Always helps to have a comment and a like, so please take time to do so. My name is Zach Ciota from the HVAC Shop Talk podcast. I'll see you guys on the next one, and God bless each one of you. Words of wisdom from a super tech. I will teach you about more red flags and measure quick. So teachers teach about superheat, but do they teach you at which RBs to